Welcome to Songwriters Souls. I've got a very special guest in the house, and I'm actually going to shift it this time and let him introduce himself. It's a really good friend of mine from Key West Songwriters Festival, and now we've seen each other a couple times in Nashville. Go ahead.
Yeah. Hi guys, I'm David Sloosh. Great to be here with John. Thanks for having me, pal.
Not a problem, buddy. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy day.
Oh yeah, we're here.
Come here and do this, and it's a little bit of a drive for you to do that. And
I had no idea we were going to be in Smyrna.
Oh, well,
but we're here.
And now we're in Smyrna. When's the last time you were in Smyrna?
A long time ago.
See?
Yeah.
And Smyrna's changing every day.
It is. It is. I love it out here. It's so quiet.
You know, there's some cool activity out here. Last weekend we were over in at Front Street, and we hit this little cigar bar over in Smyrna.
Yeah.
We had a really good time. It was fantastic.
That's great.
But you've got some really cool stuff happening right now, don't you?
Cool stuff happening. Just, yeah, I moved here about 2 years ago, and I've been writing just about 5 days a week, and just taking it day by day, really, and trying to chase down a publishing deal, and putting out a bunch of music. Hopefully we're looking at a fall release. We're looking at doing 7 or 10 songs and putting them out and see what happens.
You know, it's an honor to have you on Songwriters Souls, because I watched you last night perform, and you had a good time on stage.
Oh yeah, great time.
Live Oak would you say that's one of your favorite venues?
Live Oak, the local, I think are my 2 favorite spots in town. Live
Nice.
Oak and the local.
What do they do for you?
They are just always full of my friends and all kinds of industry folk, and you know, they're just a great spot to showcase live music. The listening room as well.
No, sure.
You know, that's another great venue where people really come, and if you hit it on the right night, people really listen to the songs, and you never know who's going to be sitting around at Live Oak, the local, the listening room, all those spots.
What's it mean to you as a songwriter to have the support from local?
It's great. I grew up in a little town in Florida, St. Augustine, and I had just this incredible support system of friends and family, and people that had, you know, kind of watched me grow over the years. And being here a couple years now, you know, you finally start to see a little shift in, you know, you have people that come out to see you play, and you have fellow songwriters that come out and watch you play and hang out and drink a beer with you, and you know, that's really special in itself. It's, you know, Nashville's it's a big city, but once you get on the inside of it, it's such a small town that it just kind of makes it feels like home.
When you were in St. Augustine, what did you do to get started as a songwriter?
I started writing songs at 13 years old. I guess I was in middle school. And in our hometown, there's a legend over there. His name is Gamble Rogers, and he was good friends with Guy Clark and Jimmy Buffett and all those guys.
Mm-hmm.
And so in middle school, there was a great music program, and his son was my guitar teacher, and they have a festival every year called the Gamble Rogers Festival, and part of the festival that year they had installed a youth songwriting competition, and I had like 3 songs that I had just kind of written in my bedroom, and ended up going over and like placing second place, and I just kind of followed it from there, and I started studying live music and just all kinds of songwriters and stuff. And fast forward a bunch of years, there's a guy here in Nashville, his name's Arliss Albritton. He started a Songwriters Festival in St. Augustine, and I'd gone over, and I guess I was in high school at this point, and he gave me an opportunity to get up and play some songs in front of hit songwriters, and I ended up, you know, being a part of the festival, and I think this is the 5th year, at the end of September, and I'm going back as a Nashvilleian, and it's just unreal.
And you know, it's fun to watch the transformation.
Oh yeah.
How's this affected family?
What do you mean?
Well, you've got family.
Got family.
How are they part of this whole.
They're my biggest fans.
I'm sure they
my
are.
biggest fans. I am really, really close with my parents, my grandparents. I talked to my grandpa on the way over here.
Nice.
They just are rooting for me every day. Nothing's really changed. They come up and see me a whole bunch, and
Nice.
I found country music through my grandpa. I spent a lot of time with him, but my parents listened to a lot of different music growing. When I was growing up, I heard everything from punk rock and reggae to bluegrass and country music, and I just heard a little bit of everything, and so I kind of got a taste of everything, but really fell in love with country music, through my grandpa, and they just,
What's one of his favorite songs that you do? Does he have a favorite?
All of them.
All
That's
of
what he'd tell you, but he'd probably the one that he loves most is, I wrote this song about him when I was a kid, or when we were kids, all the grandkids. We'd all go over to Grandpa and Grandma's house, and he had this thing he'd say to us. He'd say, how long, or what are you good for? We'd say, Grandpa. And he'd say, how long are we going to be buddies? And we'd say, forever. And so I wrote this song called, I just called it Buddies. And it's pretty cool.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, I'll play it for you.
Yeah.
This is another one. I haven't played this in a long time.
This is the first time somebody talked about Grandpa.
Okay.
Well. So,
he's
it's the start of a show and the start of a new trend.
Yeah, I haven't played this song in a long time. Let's see if I can find the right key here. Let's see. Buddies. There it is. Alright. But I wouldn't trade a day out on Orange Lake, cutting them up, casting them out, reeling them in. And I wouldn't trade an afternoon, sit out on that porch, listen to you talk about the good old days and the way you were raised. You taught me how to run your zip code, taught me how to shoot that gun, taught me how to run your old pickup truck down a dead-end dirt road. We're two of a kind, ain't nothing that can come between. How long we gonna be buddies forever, you and me? How long we gonna be buddies forever, you and me? Well, I'd never known about John Wayne and to hear Barney Fife, how to keep my faith in God race came on Saturday night. You never left home without a cowboy hat, and you're full of American pride. Grandma's tea's the best in the land, and everything's better fried. You taught me how to cast your zip code, taught me how to shoot your gun, taught me how to run your old pickup truck down a dead-end dirt road. We're two of a kind, ain't nothing that can come between. How long we gonna be buddies forever, you and me? Saying, how long we gonna be buddies forever, you and me? Forever, you and me.
Nice.
Yeah.
There you go, the grandpas of the world.
Grandpas of the world out there.
So
they're the best.
They are, and I'm one actually, and my granddaughters have another one, Mike Atkinson,
Awesome.
and we're trying to live up to that song every day.
You're doing it.
Yeah, we're trying, and fun thing about music is it kind of relates to life as it goes.
Oh yeah.
What are some changes in your life that have happened that have occurred maybe over the last couple of years?
Oh man. I think I can speak on behalf of everybody. Moving away from home is the hardest thing that anybody can do, and
right.
Leaving everything you ever knew, and just trying to figure it out. I think growing up sucks.
Yeah.
You know, I think the biggest changes are just kind of like learning how to just navigate through, you know, just anything, you know, bad jobs or, you know, just tough days, and you go home and there ain't nobody but you there, or just, I don't know, trying to figure out how all the bills are going to be paid at the end of the month. You know, it's just like the stuff they don't really teach you in school that they ought to. And I think those are the biggest changes for me. People have always kind of called me an old soul, and I was kind of ahead of the game, I felt, as, you know, as a high schooler or whatever, and just moving up here and just being away from the support system I had, and everything like that. That's been tough, but I get to go back to that.
Yep.
And I get to play shows at home, and,
Sure.
and see all those people. And
So it's life changing too.
oh yeah, absolutely.
So that the leave is one thing, but the return's
The
another.
return is fun, always a good time.
Yeah. So it's ever evolving now, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So when you're doing shows and you're doing the writing
Mm-hmm.
side of things,
Yeah.
are you collaborating with anyone?
As far as writing goes, I write songs basically 5 days a week, and most of the time it's with a co-writer or two, and that, it goes from anybody that that has just moved to town. I've got some great hit songwriter friends that I write with pretty frequently. And just a bunch of good friends as well that I've made since I moved here. When I go out and play, I usually play solo. We're working on putting together a band and doing some full band stuff, probably later in the year. But growing up, I played in a band, and I love doing that. I miss that a lot, but that's coming back around as well.
So what are the suggestions? You're 2 years into this Nashville journey. What are some suggestions you would give somebody who walked here today, walked into Nashville today?
I think the biggest thing that I've learned is to just show up. Just show up. Keep your head down. I was watching an interview that the Listening Room does. They do this podcast called Stories Behind the Songs. They had a friend of mine, Brian Davis, on. And Brian has written a bunch of hit songs for Lee Brice, Brantley Gilbert, and all those guys. And if you just keep your head down and work hard, things kind of start to change for you, you know. And nobody is better than anybody in this town, is what I've learned. You know, we're all in this for the same thing. And I just honestly, I guess my biggest advice is to anybody that moves to Nashville today is to just keep your head down and show up and go out to writers' rounds and make connections, and just don't ask for anything. Just, you know, things kind of fall into place when they're supposed to.
Yeah, Dolly Parton had 9 to 5 working for a living.
Yeah.
Right? Well, songwriting isn't necessarily 9 to 5 either.
Right. No, it's not. It could happen at 10 a.m. or 2 in the afternoon, and I've written songs at 3 in the morning.
And those ideas, they just come to you whenever.
Yeah,
right?
they'll come and they'll wake you up and scare you out of bed and tell you to write my song.
Well, and that's the opportunities you have now to do. With that creativity side of things, what would you tell the young writers out there who are maybe scared to actually forge ahead, maybe take advantage of maybe that moment that they don't realize they're having that?
I don't know, honestly, because I'm pretty young. I don't know if I haven't. I'm 21.
So 21. So
I don't know if I have an answer for that one.
It's a tough answer, though.
It's a tough answer. I mean, everybody's got a dream, and if I guess if you got a dream, just chase it. Just because Cody Johnson says it best. It ain't gonna chase you back.
Right. Well, that's a great line.
And you never know if you don't try. And I don't know. I feel like that's so vanilla, but I feel like that's just the truth. Just follow your heart.
So when you're up on stage, are you in the zone, so to speak, or do you find yourself kind of paying attention to everything?
It depends. If I'm playing new songs that I've never played before, I am in the zone and I'm kind of locked in. If I'm playing a bunch of songs that I know pretty well, I kind of let loose a little bit.
Nice. So at 21, I got to ask a question because music has changed. The old soul that you are, that you've been told you are. Music has definitely changed.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a little more upbeat, a little quicker. I noticed that there's a lot of songs out there, anywhere from 2.5 minutes to 3.5 minutes.
Yeah.
We don't have those 5 to 8 minute songs anymore.
Right.
Too much.
Right.
But that's not the target of the market either.
No.
So there are some songs that you do that are longer,
a little bit,
than others.
Well, I think when we get in a room to write, most writes we try to figure out, especially if it's with an artist or with a writer who is signed with a publishing company. They've got a list of folks that are looking for songs to cut, and we kind of try to decide if we're writing for radio or if we're writing for a project, or if we're just writing for us.
Right.
If we're just writing for us, I grew up listening to Merle Haggard and Marty Stewart and Marty Robbins and Hank Snow and all those guys. They just cut whatever they wanted to, and however long it was, that's how long it was. And they put it out with no fear.
Well, no fear. Let's go with the no fear thing here
Yeah.
for a second. I was going to branch off to something else, but the no fear factor. At 21 years old, you have to have that no fear factor too, don't you?
I think so. A little bit of it at least.
Well, you had to come here.
Yeah.
Because what did you do to conquer that fear?
Just moved out.
Just did it.
Just
right?
left. Yeah.
There's a whole lot. The no fear, the just do it, all that kind of applies, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And so, what's your motivation behind your music?
It's just what I love. I played football and I wasn't real good at that, and was never really great in school. But I found a guitar and I fell in love with country music. I had an opportunity in 5th grade. We have this amphitheater in my hometown called the St. Augustine Amphitheater, and my parents own a restaurant down there. And after school, we'd go to Mom and Dad's restaurant. We were there until Mom or Dad got off, and we'd go home. And but I would follow Mom around in the dining room, and the general manager and the maintenance manager of the amphitheater at the time would come over for lunch, and I would just follow Mom around. And they were like, "If you ever want to come over to the amphitheater and see a show, you can follow one of us around, and we'll show you the place." And so I went over one night. After school, I had turned down a bunch of shows to go to. I had turned down, so when I was like 3 years old, Gretchen Wilson was my girlfriend.
Oh, there you go.
I was in love.
Not a bad choice.
Not a bad choice. And Confederate Railroads, I Like My Women on the Trashy Side was my theme song. So I turned down seeing Gretchen Wilson and ZZ Top together. And I wish I would have gone to that.
Mm-hmm.
But
you'd be wishing that for a long time.
Yeah, but I went one Friday afternoon. Alan Jackson was in town, and I love Alan Jackson, and so I went and I picked up trash and helped clean bathrooms and did anything that they needed help with, and they ended up sticking me in the meet and greet. And I got to meet Alan Jackson that night, and from that moment forward, I kind of became like the little mascot of the amphitheater. I was able to go over and clean bathrooms, whatever needed to be done, I did it. And you know, and seeing all these buses and trucks pull in. I had no idea at the time that music was what I was going to do with my life, and or what I had dreamed of. But seeing all these buses and trucks pull in and unload, and watching the artists come out on stage every night and connect with people through music, that really lit a fire under me, and I fell in love with that. So when I found the guitar and found songwriting, and and I fell in love with a different side of it, and I started playing out a lot, and I started just I was just I'm still ate up with it. That's all I wanted to do.
Right.
And I put a band together, and I just kept working at it, and we had some really, really cool opportunities down there, and I just look back at it, and that's what inspired me to kind of that's the drive behind it. I love country music so much, and I love the history of country music and all the artists that have come before me, and the Grand Ole Opry. I just love it so much.
So you're neck deep into it now.
Oh yeah.
And so when you're here compared to home,
Mm-hmm.
what's the mindset for you here differently than when you're at home? Are you more focused here?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because this is, when I go home, especially now, I used to go home a lot because I just missed it so much. I would just go for the weekend or whatever. But I'm here. I'm here full time, and I am, like I said, I write 5 days a week. But you have to be here to win, and it's not even about winning for me, but I just am like, I don't really know how to explain it. Just the focus is so high because you fall in love with waking up every morning and writing a new song, and that's just, it's so cool to me. Where else does that doesn't really happen anywhere else.
No. And yet it's happening all around you.
All around. And so, going home is great, but when I'm here, I'm surrounded by, like you said, I'm surrounded by people that are writing every day and just as ate up with it as I am.
Yeah.
And
there's something to be said about that, though. Collectively,
mm-hmm.
when you guys get together, there has to be an uplift of support.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. Yeah, there's a great example is the Music Row Freak Show. It's a family, and
Big time.
Terry Jo Box has been so good to me. I met her in St. Augustine, and her round was one of the first rounds I was able to play when I moved to town. And I still remember the first two people that I played with, and I'll never forget it. I felt like I had achieved something. I celebrate every small victory because not everybody gets to play, certain rounds. And
sure.
There's a lot of, it just depends. But there are so many little families in this town and so many little groups, and I'm so honored to be a part of some of those, and write songs with those people. And
well, let's stay on the freak show side of things a little bit, because there's a true camaraderie that goes along with that, isn't
Absolutely. It's like I kind of think of it as like getting a Boy Scout badge. It's like once you have played and been accepted into there, it's really, like I said, it's like a family. It's the same. Even if you're not playing Freak Show, even if I'm not playing, I will go out to Freak Show just to be there.
Yep.
Because 99% of the time, it is all of my buddies or fellow songwriters, and even sometimes it was last week, it was just full of some of my heroes, and just songwriter heroes, and to be able to go on a Wednesday night in Nashville and see, a few folks that have written the biggest songs in country music history, is it's just unreal, and that doesn't happen anywhere else.
You do sit on that stage like you belong. You do.
Well,
I
thank you.
watch you. I've watched you at Songwriters, but
Yeah.
I now, watching you at the Freak Show and then
Yeah.
watching you last night. There's something to be said about having that comfort level,
Right.
to be able to sit on that stage.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's an honor every time I'm asked to play anywhere, and I never take it for granted.
Brandon, Brandon Bing interviewed with him.
Yeah.
And he was. I'm going to paraphrase because I'm not going to get it exactly like he said it, but you go out and you play like every time you play like you're supposed to be playing.
Absolutely.
You don't play around with it.
Yes.
Right? So do you feel the same way?
I do. Yeah. I mean, I do feel as if you never want to be off in this town. If you're off one night, it's not the worst thing in the world, but you really, seriously, and I mean this, you hear people say it all the time, but you never know who's going to be in the audience watching.
There's somebody out there looking all the
There's
time.
always somebody looking, and whether it's an artist looking for songs or a publisher or somebody with a podcast, it's
you never know.
You never know who's going to be watching.
Right.
So if you're not on, or if you don't, if you just kind of, if you don't, you gotta play the part all the time.
Songwriters Souls has been inspired by you guys.
Well, thanks.
That's where this whole thing has started because of songwriter festivals.
Yeah.
And so the encouragement that I'm hoping to bring with this podcast is that people realize that music isn't when you turn on the radio.
Yeah.
It happens when you turn on the radio.
Right.
But it happens behind the scenes.
Oh, yeah.
So I want you to talk a little bit about the behind the scenes and why it's important for people to understand they need to embrace songwriters.
Well, we work real hard. We get up every morning at the crack of 11 a.m. and break for lunch about 2 o'clock. But all jokes aside, seriously, we do. There's a lot of thought that goes behind it. There's a lot of heart that goes into it, and there's just there's a lot of art that goes into it as well. There are songs. I've got a list full of songs that are halfway done or just have a verse done or whatever, and the song you hear on the radio may have been sitting around for 6 years before you heard it,
right? Or longer.
Or longer. And
there's recently I conversation was 10 years, and they said, well, we need another one like it.
Yeah.
Well, that was written 10 years ago.
Right.
So there's also something to be said about writing a song 10 years ago and then revisiting it. Sometimes you're not in that same vibe.
Right. No, every day is different. And when we get in a room, whether it's with just one other person or two other co-writers, you kind of, for 30 minutes we talk, or sometimes longer, we will just talk and catch up and just talk about what the heck's going on. And if I just went through a breakup, that might be what we write about that day. Or if somebody, you never know what every day is different. Unless, I walk in sometimes with half a song or a quarter of a song and say, I'm really loving this. I think this is really, really cool. And if the writers in the room feel the same way, we finish the song that day. It really just depends. Every day is different.
So I haven't asked this question too many times of interviews, but how many songs a year do you kind of shoot for as a writer?
Me being so fresh into this, my first year in town, I didn't do a ton of co-writing. This is my second year. I'm almost at my second year anniversary. I've written so much more this year than I ever have in my life. To be honest with you, I haven't sat down and thought about it. I have no idea.
That's the beauty, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I write as much as I can. I try to keep my calendar full, and I write as much as I can. So I'm not sure what the math on writing songs 3 or 5 days a week, or for every week out of the year, but I mean, if you write a full song every day, that's a bunch of songs.
That is a bunch of songs.
A bunch of songs.
I mean,
and there are days that we have 2-a-days, or we have 2.
But you never know when it's going to happen.
Yeah, you never.
Because you don't know when that goose egg is coming either.
Right.
That first 3 or 4 lines, and then you're like, nah.
Yeah.
So you have, but how do you pick yourself up from those moments where you get stuck? What do you, as a 21-year-old in this town, it's got to be different for you, but because you found that niche now with this group, this tight-knit family that you've got here, what is it that you do to get back up off the ground and say, I'm going to go again?
There are times where I feel like I've run out of things to say, things to write about. I'll scroll through my hook book and say, none of this is worth anything. And usually when that happens...
What's a hook book?
Hook book, we all have a list in our phone or in a notebook, and we type down ideas or titles or hooks to songs, and we just call them the hook book.
Yeah.
And
so go on with your story, though.
So usually when I go through those little spells, I go home. I get out of town. If I feel like...
You mean back home?
Back home. If I feel like I have not... If I didn't write well for 2 weeks in a row, or I just felt like I ran out of things to say, I want to go eat seafood, see a beach, and drink a bucket of beers. And
it's called getting a reset.
A reset. And so every once in a while I'll pack up and I'll go home and come back, and everything's reset, and it's a new week, and I'm here to write country songs. But during the week, you just shake it off. Not every song's a hit.
Sure.
Not every song is going to be great.
Man, if you come here thinking you're in trouble, man.
I've written so many bad songs that nobody will ever hear, because I probably will never play them.
That's right.
Whether it's by
but you got to keep writing.
Yeah, just keep writing. Honestly, that's the biggest thing, is just to keep writing. I could walk out of here and write the worst song I've ever written, and tomorrow I could write a song that I feel like is the best song I've ever written.
So let's hear one that you might have a potential release on soon.
Potential on me, or an artist, or
on
one
me? Of your songs.
I'll play this one for you. This is one of my favorite songs I've ever written, and I'll kind of tell you the story behind it. I had gone out one night and was out pretty late, and had to be up the next morning pretty early I was meeting my neighbor, who are 2 of my best friends, and we were meeting to go do like a meeting, or we were doing something, and I'd gone out and listened to a band, and I got in his car the next morning, and I looked at him and I said, I hate country music. And he just looked at me and said, what'd you just say? I said, I hate country music. And he was like, is that a song? I said, I don't know. And I don't hate country music, but country music, just it'll get you through anything, and it's like
get you through anything and end anything.
And end any, yeah. So I wrote this song called I Hate Country Music with my buddies McCoy Moore, Zach Anderson, and my buddy Parker Mitchell. He's not a songwriter, but he's got credit for a line in this song, because looking for a cigarette brand that rhymed with Oklahoma, and I didn't know there was one called Sonoma. So he,
I never heard of that one either.
yeah, I didn't know about it, but it was a brand back in the day. I don't know if they still make them. I think they might.
They probably do.
But this one's called "I Hate Country Music." Cold beer at a bar in Oklahoma. Old man pulled a stool up next to me. Struck a light, pulled a drag off a red Sonoma. That song came on and he hit his knees. He said, I hate country music. I cry with a steel guitar. I used to feed the jukebox so I could hold her in my arms. He said, I can't hide from heartbreak. No, I want to sing along. But I hate country music, 'cause damn, I live them songs. I live them songs. She was a tumbleweed out of Texas. Our love was true as her goodbye. Well, I learned you don't mess with exes. She's every reason I'm here and every reason why. I hate country music. I cry with a steel guitar. I used to feed the jukebox so I could hold her in my arms. He said, I can't hide from heartbreak. No, I want to sing along. But I hate country music, 'cause damn, I live them songs about cheating, drinking, lying to myself. Prop me up beside the jukebox, sing me all the way to hell. Yeah, I hate country music. I cry with a steel guitar. I used to feed the jukebox so I could hold her in my arms. He said, I can't hide from heartbreak. No, I want to sing along. But I hate country music, 'cause damn, I live them songs. I live them songs. Cold beer at a bar in Oklahoma. Old man pulled a stool up next to me.
Oh.
Yeah, I hate country music.
You hate country.
I love country.
music.
I do. I'll be the first one to tell you, I love country. Country music just fires me up.
You know, the trail from Florida to Nashville is pretty strong.
Yeah, absolutely.
With songwriters.
Oh yeah,
And
all
good
the way up
songwriters.
through Georgia.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you go up through Alabama, there's a bunch there too.
In most cases, you didn't have much choice but to listen to country music.
That's right. I mean, you know, and growing up, I really didn't. I mean, country music was 95% of what I listened to. Anytime I was at my grandparents' house, he had a huge record collection that I now have, and there was always music on in the house if there wasn't anything else. And you know, same with my parents. There was always music on in the house. You know, I didn't grow up watching a lot of TV or anything, and she always had, like, on Saturday mornings, there was CMT on, and just the music video and GAC and all those you know, music video. You know, it was the top 20 songs of the week or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And that's what was on, and man, I fell in love with it, and just, I don't know, there's something about country music that just is different than anything else out there.
You know, you've come a long way, and your journey so far is really small.
Oh yeah.
But you've come a long way.
Absolutely.
So as you're developing your craft, this town has been labeled like the 10-year town.
Yeah.
You're a couple years into your journey.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like you're on task?
I think so. I feel like I am. When I first moved here, I had taken some meetings with guys that I had met, through Songwriters Festival and through, just different folks in the industry. And I had taken some meetings with them. And I'd shown them, the songs I had when I moved here, and I'd met with them a few months later and showed them the songs that I had started writing.
Sure.
And everybody said, "You're ahead of the game. Everything's good. You just keep doing what you're doing." And this year, I feel like I'm right on top of it.
Nice.
I don't feel behind. I feel like I'm right where I need to be, and everything that is happening right now is supposed to be happening. And I feel like there's still a lot of work to be done, and I don't think I will ever be satisfied. And that goes with me in the studio. I always feel like I can do something different or sing it better, and and even when it comes to writing, I feel like I can always try to beat something I've already written, and there's a long way to go, but.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I have no idea. I don't know where I see myself at the end of the year. Honestly, I think.
Could you possibly have that vision in this town? I mean, truly
Yeah. Oh,
walk
yeah,
in
absolutely.
and think, I'm going to be there in 5 years.
Well, I'll be very honest with you. If you would have asked me if I saw myself sitting right here with some of the things that are going on right now, industry-wise, I would have told you not next year, maybe in 3 years.
Right.
But things are starting to shift, and I've got, it's really, really cool when, it's really special when you start taking meetings with publishers and artists start having interest in the songs you're writing, and that, I think that is, that shows that everything is right. Like, something is working.
Sure.
Whatever it is, I don't know, but it's like, okay, things are happening, and it could change tomorrow.
Well, no pun intended, but alarms are going off.
Yeah.
Even on my phone.
Yeah.
So those things happen in life.
Yes, absolutely.
Things just seem to happen, and you may not have a plan. You have a vision.
Yeah.
But the plan and the steps to get to that vision,
yes,
you're ever adapting, aren't you?
They're ever it's ever changing. Every day is different, and I could write a song tomorrow that changes my life in 3 months from now, or it could, it may not happen for 6 years.
Sure.
And that's for anybody. I mean, I think you can, once you've been here a couple of years, you realize that it's really not as easy as it looks when you go to see your favorite artist on the road.
Right.
There's so much behind the scenes from writers and everybody on their team. Everybody worked a long time to get to where they are right now, and I don't know. None of it's easy.
See, I think it's cool from the consumer side to actually realize that I said this last night. There's mini concerts at a songwriters event.
Yeah.
That you're hearing music before it hits the road.
Right. Absolutely.
And so the more that you take things in from behind the scenes, when it hits the radio, you've heard it.
Right.
Style may change,
Right.
rhythm might change,
Right.
word might change.
Right.
And all those things do happen here in Nashville.
Absolutely.
But once that song gets life, it's very fluid too.
Absolutely. Yeah. You said that great.
I know.
That's great.
It's really cool though, because I see that out of songwriters.
Right.
Because you guys are the song.
Right.
Before the motion of the song started.
Yes.
And you're ever fluid over here, and you're always changing and always adapting.
Everything.
And trying to figure out, how do I do this and what do I do there?
Absolutely.
And the question is, do you ever overthink that process?
All the time.
All the time.
All the time.
And you're not by yourself.
No. I think we all overanalyze everything and overthink things sometimes, just because it's so unpredictable. You have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow.
Sure.
And that's why it's so hard to say. Well, because I'm still I'm still figuring out who I am as an artist. Because I did move here to kind of pursue an artist career in this town, and if I take a run at an artist career, and I would be just as happy being a songwriter for the rest of my life. That doesn't bother me at all. But it's so unpredictable what could happen. And there's a lot of like touch and go. It's like it's really like a roller coaster. There's a lot of this,
Yep.
and then you get to the top. You just kind of hang there for a minute, and then it shoots you all the way back down, and you gotta pick up and start again. There's so much of that in this town.
And I love it because that's what this is all about right now.
Yeah.
Is that I love that sound because it does happen.
Yeah.
And that emotion when you get to the top,
Yeah.
and you think I'm gonna have 3 songs on this next album,
Right.
and you're over.
Yeah.
And
Well, and guess what? Somebody beat you out.
somebody beat you out. So
Yeah.
somebody else is making their day, and you're on your way back down
Right.
again. So
And that's the thing. Like I am so young in this. Like I really don't. There are so many people in this town that are so much better than I am. And I learn something every day from somebody my age, somebody just a few years older than me, somebody that's been in this town for 25, 30 years. And that's, going back to what you asked earlier, another piece of advice is just learn, for everything you do, just learn from it.
be a sponge.
Be a sponge, just soak it up.
Yeah, I mean the truth of the matter is I don't care what walk of life you're on.
Yeah.
And I there's something to be said about listening to songwriters, being part of their journey, understanding where they came from. If you need to redirect your career on anything else that you do, it's the same thing. It's called commitment to your career.
Right.
It's called honing your craft. It's called absorbing information, making yourself better, transforming yourself into something, and whatever you're working on, transforming that into something.
Right.
Well, that's songwriting.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's real estate. That's being a dentist. That's being
Right.
a surgeon.
Yeah.
So there's all these things. And the motivational side of things for me is that I look at how hard the craft actually is.
Right.
And most people take songs for granted.
Right. Yeah.
And they don't think that it's hard to write a song.
Right.
I challenge anybody to sit down and try to do it.
Yeah.
And get on the radio.
Yeah.
Just once.
Right.
It's only one song.
Right.
Well,
It's
okay. One song out of a billion.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's a bunch of songs out there.
Absolutely.
There's so many songs out there.
So before we end this, I want you to play again.
Yeah.
And then we'll finish up with a couple quick questions.
Yeah, man.
So pick a good song, a great song of yours, and another one.
I'll play one that's doing some really exciting things right now. I mean, nothing too exciting, but there's a couple of artists interested in this song, and this is kind of kicking some doors open with publishing companies and stuff. So,
and that's a big deal.
It's a huge deal. It's I try to celebrate every small victory, and just being in the moment with it. So
make mom, dad, grandpa, grandma happy.
Oh yeah, make country music proud.
There you go.
Make the hometown proud. So I wrote this song one morning with my buddies Chase McDaniel and Dallas Winstead. I think did you see Chase play last night?
I did.
He's so good.
He is.
He is so good. And Dallas Winstead is as well. They're just two of my favorite people to write with, and we caught a good one this morning, and that we wrote this song. And Dallas brought this idea into the room. There's a guy I guess maybe out on YouTube, and he posts these like farming videos and cowboy stuff, and he says at the end of every video he's like, just keep cowboying on. So Dallas brought this idea cowboying on into us, and I'm a sucker for just kind of little made up words, and so we wrote this song called Cowboying On, and like I said, it's doing some cool things, and it's one of my favorite songs to play out, so I'll play it here for you. It goes something like this. A family farm in Texas, their name on the gate. It's been 3 months since they've seen rain. Should've sold it all when it didn't fall. Cowboys keep cowboying on. Big Sky, Montana, small town rodeo. Always looking for 8 just to break another bone. Should've packed it up, should've gone home. Cowboys keep cowboying on. You can knock us down, we'll get back up. Dig our heels in the dirt when the going gets tough. Doing what we can to make a dying breed last. What you see's what you get under this old hat. When the world goes to hell, all right turns wrong. Cowboys keep cowboying on. Oh, cowboys keep cowboying on. There's a boy with a diamond in the pocket of his jeans. Could drown in the whiskey when he hit one knee. She saddled up, she rode off. Cowboys keep cowboying on. You can knock us down, we'll get back up. Dig our heels in the dirt when the going gets tough. Doing what we can to make a dying breed last. What you see's what you get under this old hat. When the world goes to hell, all the right turns wrong. Cowboys keep cowboying on. Oh, cowboys keep cowboying on. Like the Marlboro Man or old John Wayne, we'll be riding high till our dying day. You can knock us down, we'll get back up. Dig our heels in the dirt when the going gets tough. Doing what we can to make a dying breed last. What you see's what you get under this old hat. When the world goes to hell, all the right turns wrong. Cowboys keep cowboying on. Oh, cowboys keep cowboying on. Keep going.
Clearly, you can see why they like that.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Well, I hope they like it as much as we do.
Well, I think they will. It may take them a couple years,
That's
but
it.
you never know,
You
right?
never know.
So-
You never know.
If people were to follow you, how do they do that?
You can find me on all social media platforms at Davis Loose, Loose. On everything. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all that.
I think you're the only Davis Luce out there, aren't you?
I think so. I hope so.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
When I typed it in, it was just
I think,
bam.
Yeah, I
You're
think
right
it's
there.
the only one. I think it's the only thing that'll come up. So.
Well, that's fantastic,
Yes.
and I really appreciate you taking time out of your day
Absolutely.
to be part of
Thank
this.
you for what you're doing. Thanks for giving us a spot to come and talk about our journey and the songs we're writing, and man, I just this is really special. So
Well, I
thank you
appreciate
for
it.
having
I
me.
appreciate
really
it, and
appreciate it.
it's just as special on this side
Oh,
because
yeah.
I truly have enjoyed everything about this, and your journeys are now part of my journey.
That's right.
With this,
So,
and it's a lot of fun.
maybe
So-
we can do this again in 2 or 3 years.
Oh, we're gonna do it before that.
I'll have some
'Cause
better answers.
You're
for you.
coming back. No, you had. Listen, at 21 years old, you've got great answers,
Well, thank you.
and the inspirational side of things
Yeah.
for anyone out there that's 21 years old trying to figure it out.
Yeah. Just do it. Just do it.
There you go.
Just chase it as hard as you can chase it. That's it, man. I mean,
Let the naysayers be naysayers.
that's right. Just don't listen to them.
See?
They
There you
don't. They don't know what they're talking
That's
about.
right.
Just write country music.
Yeah.
That's all you.
Because you hate country music. 'Cause you love
yeah,
country
hate
music.
it, but you love it at the
Yeah,
same
that's
time.
right.
So,
Well, thank you so much
thank
for
you,
being part of it.
John. Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, buddy.
I appreciate it.
Talk to you soon.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.